Hey there, it's Dr. Tom with EBM Fitness Solutions, and we're going to look at a standing hamstring stretch, the right way to actually stretch your hamstrings. So, quick anatomy lesson, the hamstrings run from the bottom of your butt to the back of your knee. That's incredibly important because most hamstring stretches that people do, whether they're laying down or sitting or standing or whatever, they end up stretching the sciatic nerve, right? So the sciatic nerve runs on the back of the leg, but the sciatic nerve continues behind the knee. It kind of branches off into two nerves, and it runs all the way down to basically your heel and your foot. So if you're stretching the hamstring and you feel it go beyond the knee into the calf or lower, you're no longer stretching at your hamstring, you're stretching and pulling on the sciatic nerve, but it means you're doing the stretch incorrectly. That's a very important thing to remember. Same thing if it's stretching up into like your butt and your low back area. That's not the hamstring. It stops at the bottom of your butt. So keep that in mind when you go through, if you're doing other hamstring stretches, whether they're on your own or in a class or whatever, and you're feeling it in the wrong area, you need to change how you're doing that stretch because you're actually, one, not really stretching your hamstring, and you're irritating the sciatic nerve, which is the biggest nerve in the body, and when it gets angry, it's not cool. It's going to be a big problem. So let's talk about how to stretch the hamstring. So what you want to have is a slightly raised surface here. These two steps about 12 inches off the ground. Something around there is going to be plenty. It doesn't need to be too high, but something that's off the ground a little bit makes this one work the best. I also have a foam roller here for balance because when you're trying to stretch like this, you don't want to have to fight with your balance. If my leg is up here and I'm doing this the whole time, that's not making it better for me to stretch my hamstrings. It's actually causing my muscles to contract, which is going to make it harder for me to stretch. So always have a foam roller or set up next to a wall or something, but give yourself the support so you can actually focus on the stretch. So here's what we do. One foot's going to be on the ground, the other foot's going to be up on the step. Very important step that most people miss. The foot that's on the ground can't be rotated or turned. You need to make sure that both feet end up pointing in the same direction. Okay? So what a lot of people do is they put their foot up, and this foot is turned here, it's turned a different way. Well, that rotates your hips, all right? So your hips are connected, so when one rotates, the other's also going to rotate, and it can sort of make the stretch less efficient, okay? So the key is feet straight ahead, one foot goes up onto the step. Here, keep a slight bend in the knee and keep your foot relaxed. At the end, I'll show you a way that you can move from the hamstring stretch to a little bit of neural tension just so you can feel the difference and understand what one feels like versus the other. First, let's talk about the stretch. Knee is bent, foot is relaxed. All I'm going to do is I'm going to very subtly push my hip back this way, and now I feel a nice stretch right there. What I'm essentially doing is moving this attachment here, we'll call it the butt attachment, away from the knee attachment, right? So one spot is not moving, I'm going to pull the other end away from it. That's the basic idea of stretching anyway. So here, sit back. That's all I need to do. If you're moving too much with this stretch, if you're really doing a whole lot of this, it's one of two things, and there's only two options. Either A, you're doing it wrong, or B, you have very good hamstring sort of flexibility and mobility and you don't need this stretch. One or the other. If you don't get it right away, you probably don't need it, or just revisit your technique. So the difference though, again, when you get it right here, in through here, good stretch. I mentioned if it goes beyond the knee, because lots of people feel the burning or pulling into the calf. Stretching your muscles doesn't really burn, okay? Stretching your nerves does. So if I set up here, and you can try this, do it slowly, straighten your knee. Right there, I already feel a little bit of a pull here. So straighten your knee, and then gently pull your toes up towards you. Don't even move your upper body, just do that with the leg, and you'll feel that pull, probably a familiar feeling into your calf. That is neural tension. That is you starting to kind of pull on and irritate that sciatic nerve. So I want you to do that just to appreciate the difference so that when you're stretching the muscle, it feels one way, and if you're doing something and you get that feeling of that neural tension, you know to stop and correct whatever you're doing to take the tension off the nerve and get it back onto the hamstring.